What the hell difference does it make what they talked about in August? Can we please bury that?
I don't think Stefanski wanted any part of Shedeur.
Now, here's the thing. He's out here doing things no Browns quarterback has ever done before, and suddenly everyone's like, forget it, it doesn't matter. Hold up, what? I thought this week was going to be exciting for Browns media. You've got a quarterback who in his very first start shattered multiple records, and now in just his third start, he's setting league-wide records. He's doing things only Joe Burrow has done, only Tom Brady has done, and even pulling off feats Baker Mayfield did back in 2018. And yet, this is the reaction I'm hearing.
Did a great job. What the hell difference does it make what they talked about in August? He's the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Can we bury all the other stuff? Can we please bury that? He's the starting quarterback. He threw for 360-something, 3 touchdowns, scored another one.
And he finally said he's your starter for the rest of the year.
And the coach has been putting in extra time bringing him along. Boy, Kevin sure screwed him over, didn't he, Andy?
And honestly, this is probably nastier than anything Anthony Lima has said. I got to keep it real. And look, I got nothing personal against the guys over at 92.3 The Fan, but it's hard for me to trust them sometimes. That's why I get my info elsewhere, because at least Tony Grossi will own up and say exactly what he means. But still, some of the things being said, straight up nasty. And remember, we've been making videos since before August. I'm telling y'all, the North remembers. Pepperidge Farm remembers. We don't just forget all the wild stuff people said. Nope. And I'm not even blaming anyone specifically. But the second Shedeur fell out of the second round, the top 5 chatter, people were dragging him. Ha, that's what you get, Shedeur. Thought you were a top pick? Even though every expert, every scout, every board had him ranked up there. And now that he's starting, doing things no Browns quarterback has done before, suddenly it's like we're supposed to act like none of that ever happened. Oh, I see. I get it now. I get the game. This is nasty, real nasty. Shout out to Nissa for the gift subscription, by the way. Leanne, you deserve that. But seriously, think about it. The way people were talking about Shedeur while he was out in the community, giving back, doing what a professional should do, is wild. Shout out to Kevin Stefanski for developing the guy properly. Maybe if the team hadn't drafted 2 QBs while ignoring offensive line, receivers, linebackers, depth, maybe there wouldn't have been so much noise around 17 QBs. Another gifted sub from Nissa. Thank you again. Y'all showing up different. I see it, and I appreciate that. It's real nasty that now that Shedeur has proven himself, people act like we're supposed to forget all the skepticism. We knew what he was capable of. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the prank calls. Shout out to Peachy King. Nothing happens by accident, y'all. And yeah, I try to keep it clean on here. I don't like using the R word, but that doesn't mean the energy isn't there. The Browns fandom sometimes just doesn't have the capacity to debate sports. They want me to slip so they can tear me down, but it doesn't erase the facts. How? What? This is wild. And you want people to believe this isn't a conspiracy theory? Look, I don't think it's some hidden agenda. Honestly, I just think Kevin Stefanski is that bad at his job. That's it. The sabotage, in my opinion, didn't come from anything deeper. It came from how poorly he coaches, and the numbers back it up. The offensive stats, the rankings, the fact that he handed off play calling duties 2 years in a row, all of it supports exactly what I'm saying. We don't even have to bring up the other stuff. We don't need to talk about him refusing to say Shedeur's name. We don't need to bring up how he never wanted him in the first place. We don't even have to discuss the leaks claiming he wanted this to be a redshirt year and never intended to play Shedeur at all. Forget all that. If we only look at football facts, just football, nothing Stefanski has done shows that he can develop a quarterback, especially when he handpicked Dillon Gabriel, and it looked as bad as it looked. But somehow I'm supposed to forget that part? I'm supposed to pretend that history doesn't matter? That's not how this works. When you ignore history, you set yourself up to repeat the same mistakes. There's a more elegant quote for that, but you get the point. If you don't study what happened, you walk right back into the same trap. Thank you, Intel Plays. Now explain to me, why am I supposed to suddenly praise Kevin Stefanski now? This is the same coach who told us Dillon Gabriel was the more capable player. What made him think that? Because here's the part that blows my mind. Dillon Gabriel ran the exact same offense Stefanski specializes in, a wide zone offense. Oregon's Kevin Stein runs the same system, heavy tight ends, wide zone, play action, everything identical to what Stefanski does. So not only was Gabriel hand-picked, he came from the perfect college system for Stefanski's scheme. For it to look that bad, I can't call that anything except laziness. The only reason Dillon Gabriel was ahead of Shedeur was because he ran the same offense in college. That's it. So no, I don't buy this idea that he gave everyone equal footing or developed all the quarterbacks the same. That's not what happened. The internal leaks made it clear. He didn't want to develop Shedeur. That doesn't mean he hates him. Everyone can believe what they want. But you can't look at how Stefanski operated and not ask, what was he thinking? Why, when you have the more talented player, are you pouring all your time into someone who should already understand this system? If Dillon Gabriel was the so-called supercomputer, why did he need first-team reps? Why did he need more than anybody else? He took more first-team reps than Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. And look, Flacco is old, so sure, fine. But Pickett, Huntley, Shedeur, Gabriel took more than all of them, and that's what he put on the field. But I'm supposed to forget that? Okay, they want me to forget. Riz, what do you think? Riz has been here, and listen, I've been up and down on him because there was a point where he started hearing leaks and asking, is Shedeur not doing the right things? And honestly, I appreciate him for even asking. He was trying to understand. He was saying there has to be a reason, right? Well, let's hear it.
Wanted any part of Shedeur. And Tony wrote today, and I have to ask him, I don't know where he got this or whether he's speculating. He basically tried to say today that Shedeur wasn't putting in the work early on, and that's what turned people off in the building. I have no idea if that's the case. But I know this, when you're fourth string and they're telling you they're going to redshirt you, I mean, that's, you know, as a young person, which Shedeur is, that's kind of tough to deal with. I'm not saying I'd have went into into a closet somewhere and turned everybody off, but it's really hard to stay engaged when people don't believe in you in the building.
So again, this is how I know people are lying. This is how I know the whole he wasn't working hard narrative is fake, because it only pops up when it's convenient. It's always attached to something else. And remember when Rex Ryan said months ago that Shedeur Sanders wasn't doing what he's supposed to do in the building? I told y'all back then, why didn't Tony Grossi report that? Why would the biggest Shedeur critic at the time, Tony Grossi, keep quiet if that were true? And now, suddenly, after Shedeur performs the way he's performing, Tony Grossi reports, oh, by the way, early on he wasn't putting in the work. So which one is it? What work was he supposed to be putting in if he was supposedly going to be redshirted for the entire year? You can't run all these conflicting lies at the same time. He's supposedly a redshirt quarterback, but he also didn't put in enough work, but he's also the most talented guy after 3 starts. Does any of that make sense? And here's the biggest question. If he wasn't putting in the work, why would the GM trade away both Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett? Somebody explain that. If Shedeur wasn't prepared, if he was never supposed to play, why did the GM eliminate every other option and basically force Shedeur into the job? And why wasn't Bailey Zappi the QB too? The lies don't add up. They never have. And that's exactly why we can't just forget everything they were saying about him earlier. Because if we forget, then maybe the narrative of, oh, he just wasn't working hard early on, starts sounding believable. But it never added up. It never matched what was happening. And here are the facts. Shedeur Sanders threw for the second most yards and the second most touchdowns in the entire NFL this week. Do not forget that. Now look at what national media is saying. This is Chris Sims. Shedeur looks the part to me. He plays big. His arm looks strong. I know he's not perfect in every decision. He's a rookie, but I think he has a great overall feel for the game. So you're telling me Kevin Stefanski, meeting with him every day, couldn't see that? You're telling me national analysts can recognize talent through a TV screen, but Stefanski, who coached him daily, couldn't. And no, I'm not forgetting what they said about him back in August, because back then you had all kinds of people talking reckless. You had fake girlfriend man, the original catfish. You had Mineo, and Mineo, I love you. I wanted you to win the Heisman. But the things said back then, they want you to forget all that.
solid. I thought his performance was solid, but this is what I learned about Shedeur. I think there was a narrative about him coming out of college that he was this guy that thought he was something, that he was entitled. I mean, there were certain instances where that on his team visits, he had certain talks about his team visits, his combine. He said, history repeats itself. And there are times in colleges where there was times in colleges where he blamed his offensive line for not being able to block. Well, the Shedeur that I saw.
Well, I thought it was solid, and Boog says it best. If you don't know Boog, he's one of the media managers for Shedeur, like he's connected directly to the man himself. He says, "Manteo, I know you're not familiar with Shedeur because you're getting catfished or going off fake narratives the media created. I'm here to educate you. And I'll say this, Shedeur has always been mature and accountable. He's just very stern about knowing who and what he is. First off, Manteo falls for fake bait, so we have to assume he's going to keep doing what he does best, seeing something fake and believing it. Fake girlfriends, fake narratives, the whole Shedeur Sanders blamed his receivers or his offensive line thing. Out of context. We debunked it when it happened. I've been making videos for years, and this was back at the Nebraska game. I remember it verbatim. The question was, hey Shedeur, Nebraska's run game seemed to open up their passing game. What do you think? Or how could you have a better run game? And he said, well, yeah, of course. If we had a better run game, I'd be able to open things up. You see what they're doing. How often did Dylan Raiola get touched? And then, continuing the clip, he explains that a potent run game makes blocking easier, but people immediately spun it as Shedeur throwing his offensive line under the bus. That's the problem. Y'all are living in this clip culture, this microwave culture. You let Barstool Sports, who we all know hates Deion Sanders, probably because he didn't sign with them, which they've been known to hold grudges over, twist the narrative. They put out that clip with zero context, so yeah, it looks bad. But again, Manteo, I'd recommend doing a little more research. I really wanted you to win the Heisman, I really did. Now, I'm not so sure. And speaking of August 11th, no, forget that. This is Super Bowl champion Mike Martz talking to the same people who said forget what they said in August. And this is the last clip we're watching in this video.
I was a fan of Shedeur's coming out. It's a very complicated situation. Shedeur's never had adversity, I don't believe, in his career. I think he needed to go through this. I think it was important that he goes through this. I think you have to look at where he was and how he got here. I think Shedeur in college, and it's a criticism, but it's a very accurate criticism. He didn't get any coaching. Well, to his credit, whatever plays they ran, he just figured it out. And he didn't just figure it out, he did very well with that. That's very unusual. I kind of know what they were doing, and they just kind of let him go. And to survive and do well in that environment is pretty amazing. The problem with that is it gives you this false sense of you got the answers.
So, and I love the fact that now everybody's just handing out backhanded compliments. Backhanded compliments everywhere. Hey, he's really good, but by the way, he didn't get real coaching. Or, oh, well, he excelled, 4,000 yards, golden arm winner, overtime completion percentage, but he needed to go through this. He needed to be humbled. And go back to my videos from August. I said it then and I'll say it again. Shedeur Sanders has always been humble. There is zero need to humble him. If you actually watch the post-game interviews or the BYU press conference where he stopped the media, you'll see it. But again, these clips don't go viral because they don't fit the narrative. He literally stopped people asking questions and said, hey guys, I got teammates up here. Here it is. Remember, this was pre-Alamo Bowl, the pre-game conference, and you had Mr. Not Humble, Not Mature, Shedeur. How do you feel when you're asked a bunch of questions trying to spin it?
Back through those situations, those times, since we had so much time off.
Shedeur, it's
and by the way, I got a lot of teammates up here too. I just said, because they wouldn't have came if it was just about me. It was pointless for them to come.
Well, again, do y'all actually watch the conferences, or do y'all just let the media tell you what happened? The same man who supposedly throws his teammates under the bus is also the same man who, when asked questions by everybody, says, hold up, y'all know I got teammates, right? Y'all know I'm standing beside my teammates, right? My teammates helped me get to the Alamo Bowl. Why not ask them some questions? Hey, man. But hey, lying will get you far, man. Lying will take you wherever you want to go. So no, we're not forgetting what they said in August. There's just no way, because if we do, y'all are gonna spin the narrative any way you want. Let y'all tell it, Shedeur Sanders was dumb, couldn't read defenses, and then Kevin Stefanski magically turned him into a perfect quarterback, right? That's what y'all want us to say, right? That's what y'all want us to just capitulate on. I'm not doing it, dog. I'm not doing it. I'm not agreeing with it. The Browns are gonna have to figure something else out, man. And if you're watching this live, stay tuned. We got more to break down. If not, like this video if you feel it, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you want more football content. We'll see y'all next time.